The banks are getting nervous. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very, very tricky times. All right, folks, welcome into the channel. It's always an honor and a privilege to be with you. So yes, we're going to take another deep dive, hard-hitting look into the world of real estate. Real estate has gone through the roof. It is now teetering on a razor's edge. I think we can all feel the uncertainty that's swirling around the real estate market. And like I've said before, everything hinges on the real estate market. If the real estate market fails, everything will fail. So folks, here's the latest temperature check I wanted to give you guys on what's going on currently. Coming up for air instantly. Recently, I went to one of my banks and just to do a little light banking, and found myself having the vice president of the bank come up to me in the branch, and we started talking. He knows I'm an industry guy, and we started chatting about the industry and a lot of things we talk about right here on the channel. I mean, even vice presidents of banks, this is on their mind, folks. I mean, this is really insane to me. And I really appreciated the transparent and very just real conversation I had with a vice president of a bank. And one of the things, I mean, I'm having a hard time reporting on this because it's so serious. You know, again, if you've watched this video before, my channel before, you know, a lot of times I laugh at stuff because it's almost like a defense mechanism built into us when stuff is just so unreal. You got to laugh because it's just so insane. But one of the things I was talking to him about is, hey, have you seen mortgage applications decline here at your branch? And he's like, we aren't even doing them anymore. Whew. Coming up for air, folks, this bank isn't even writing home loans anymore. They'll do some commercial stuff, this and that, very selective on what type of loans they're writing. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And this was just between him and I. But he's like, we learned our lesson in the last '08 bubble, and we have basically suspended, terminated, stopped writing home loans here. That is insane to me, folks. And he says the only ones that we have are ones that have been with us forever. You know, a handful of loans that we had, years and years and years and years, but we do not do any more new loan origination for residential properties. This is a bubble. We've learned our lesson from the last bubble. We're not going to get caught holding the bag on this next bubble. Whew, folks, I mean, this is another temperature check, another example of the writing is on the wall. Look, read between the lines. Look between the cracks. There are tons of cracks if you simply look for them. And folks, I mean, this is really starting to get a little bit kind of serious, in my opinion. I know in the last housing bubble, for me personally, there were people warning me. There were people warning us in the last bubble. And just like today, people weren't listening. Very few listened. And even if they did listen, they weren't ready to admit it. They were like, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Because like I've said before, this is very much psychological warfare, what we're dealing with now, folks. And I see it, and I've been in that situation. Once you make up your mind to buy, you're buying. It doesn't matter what I or anybody else says. Once you've made up your mind to buy, you're buying. And it's very rare that somebody taps out. I think if anything, we've probably seen more people tap out in this real estate bubble than the previous real estate bubble. And understandably so, this is a bigger bubble, which that alone, folks, I mean, my gosh, I could just stop the video right now. This bubble makes the last bubble look like a warm-up. Absolute insanity, right? So one of the things, again, I was talking to the vice president of the bank, and we were talking. He had some real estate questions. I had some banking questions, and it was really just getting a temperature check, a frontline report from a banker. And, you know, he said a lot of people are nervous right now having their money in the bank. That, you know, they're offering what they call programs to spread their money out throughout different institutions, so the amount your money will be insured up to a certain amount, because most of our money is not insured at your bank. If something happens to that bank, they in fact don't, you know, it might not be insured. You might lose your money. That's why we see a lot of other channels like Dan and I allegedly, or even Jeremiah Babe, saying, get your money out of the bank. So we all dismiss it as clickbait, but it's not. This is in fact something that can really happen. The banks are nervous right now. The branch itself, you walk in, if you can even get into the branch. I talked to him about that as well. I said, I know a lot of branches, like you could maybe use an ATM. The doors are locked. He's like, yeah. He's like, legally we have to have the doors open 4 days a week or something like that. But, you know, they're shutting doors whenever they can. Because, I mean, people don't go into the bank anymore. Most people are doing this remotely. They don't need people in these banks anymore. It's insane. Everything's changing. Everything is changing. Coin shortages. Like, they don't even have coins. Like, everything is so fragile. The banks are nervous. Now, this guy was great. He got it, but I could tell the tellers in the bank, the other people that still had offices or desks in this bank, there was no work for them. They're sitting around, staring at screens, doing nothing. Like, this is insanity to me. So in final thoughts today, folks, again, I wanted to give you a frontline report on an actual... You know, a lot of banks aren't even writing home loans anymore because they know we're in a bubble. That's why they're shutting their doors, is because there's no work outside of that. And it's either you're going to be some company writing shaky home loans, or you're just doing regular institutional banking. And so, the thing is, I believe personally, is that we have to look at this as a warning sign. I believe we've all come to the realization now that a recession is probably in the near future. As it plays out, because of the digital diet and contagion now that we now have as part of the component of today's modern society, will a depression or something bigger than a recession be produced? We've basically thrown every life support measure at our economy that's available, and now there's nothing less left to do. There's no more life support. There's no more safety vests. The plunge protection team is going to basically be out of a job here soon too. We will pay the piper. The dust will settle from the pandemic and the stimulus programs. There's no way around it anymore. It's really kind of sad on one hand, because this should have ended a long time ago. I've always said this, if you've watched any of my previous videos. We should have let this economy do what it needed to do a long time ago and started a rebuild effort. All the money that we just spent injecting, pumping up markets, could have been used in a rebuild effort. We could have done targeted stimulus rather than just throwing money at every problem, or not even problem, just throwing money into circulation, into the economy, overheating it. And now we're left with an overheated economy, inflation, and all these issues, and no more money to spend our way out of it. So, folks, again, another frontline report, temperature check on some of the things that I'm dealing with. I'm sure you are too. If you've dealt with similar situations, drop them in the comments. Share it with our audience. Some of the smartest people on YouTube are participating in the comment section of this channel. I appreciate all of you. I know that, one of the things that we always say is, in order to get out of the problem and in the solution, the first step will always be admitting there is a problem. Once we could admit there's a problem, then we can start moving towards the solution. The solution is going to be, in this one, a level-headed realist, earn your wealth mentality, no free handouts, and understand insulating yourself, paying off debt, being able to weather a storm, then being able to regather yourself and go strike on deals when deals come. That's what the heavy hitters are doing. That's what I want us to be doing too. I'm confident we can do it, but the first thing we have to do is get safe on the sidelines so that we can, in fact, go play ball as well. So if you appreciate the content, I humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Go make it count today. I'll see you on the next video.